What's up, guys? My name is Wes, and this is Piece Parts. And in this episode, I'm going to show you how to do some cool graphics on your car. It may not be your thing, but I think it's certainly my thing. And I wanted to do something kind of crazy ever since I painted this thing. So we're going to do just that, and I'm going to show you how I'm doing it. So let's start off with what all kind of stuff that I'm using, and/or like what you would want to use if you wanted to do something similar. So let's get into that. So to start off with, here's some of the things that you would need if you're going to do something similar. 3 colors here. Those are going to be my stripes, and I've got them in 3 little rolls. And basically what I did was I bought a 1 foot wide roll, and like that. A 1 foot by 5 foot roll. So each one of these are 4 inches wide by 5 feet long. And the reason I did that was because I want a stripe going down the whole length of the car, and it's a lot easier to buy it and divide it like this than it would be to buy one long spool. Let's say that's like 1 foot by 20 foot. And then I've got a cool lined 90s kind of style graphic that I'll show you later. That I'm going to go, it's going to kind of overlay the stripes a little bit. And some of the other things you're going to need will be a squeegee of some kind. This one came with the vinyls. It has a nice felt edge. You've probably seen these before if you have done any kind of vinyl stuff. Knifeless tape. This stuff is amazing. I've also got a couple different sizes of tapes. I got 1.5 wide tape and 3/4 inch wide tape. Some of the other things I have, this is kind of optional. I just happen to have this laying around. It's a little plastic, I don't know, I guess kind of a trim removal tool, something along those lines. That will work as well. It's nice to kind of use something to get around the edges of doors and things like that, especially in this case. Other cases, you may need to use it for more things than that. And then finally, a nice sharp blade. You could use like an X-Acto knife or even just a razor blade that I've used before. But this one I bought with the installation kit from Vivid, and works really well. One other thing that you're going to need potentially is a heat gun. That's going to be about it. That's going to be pretty much all the stuff you need to do some cool graphics. Okay, so to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knifeless tape and run down the length of the car, and that'll give me the middle line of my stripes that I want to lay down. So basically the plan is that there's going to be 3 stripes kind of coming to a point and going straight down the back of the car. And then the other little graphic we were just talking about will go on the rear fender. So first step to do is I'm going to lay down my middle line of the stripes, and then I will lay down another line right below that of knifeless, and you'll see why in just a second. And then I'll go and lay down my top and bottom of my stripes, and that'll give me 2 stripes. And then after I have the 2 stripes, I'm going to basically put another 2 lines of the knifeless tape, and then we're going to run the 3rd stripe. And I'll show you why we're doing that in a little bit later. So we got our knifeless tape ran down the whole car. Now, like I said, this top line is going to actually be our middle line for the stripes. This bottom line, however, is just kind of like a cutting line. So essentially what we're going to do, I'm going to lay down another 2 lines of knifeless tape about here and about here. I'm going to use my tape to kind of space it out. And then that's going to give me a good even width the whole way. And then I can run another knifeless tape to give me a nice kind of straight lines. And so then what we're going to do is once we have that laid down, we're going to take the white and we're going to lay it on the top side. And what we're going to do is we're going to overlap both lines of knifeless tape here. And so again, this middle line is going to be the line that we actually care about. And this line is going to be the line that we would use to cut just the white. So what we would do is we will lay down the white on the whole length of the car, and then we will cut this bottom line, and that will get the white close to our finish line, but not cut it yet. And then once we have that down and then kind of trimmed, we'll take our dark blue color and overlap it just a little bit over this of our finish line, because this line will be gone. And then we'll pull this line off, and that'll cut both of these layers of vinyl at the exact same time, give us the exact same shape, and then when we lay it down, it'll be nice and smooth, a nice smooth butt joint. And then we'll take our third color and lay a stripe down the middle. And the reason we have these two below it or underneath it here is that over time this middle stripe will start to shrink, and if I just butted all three lines together, then we'd have a gap here and a gap here that we could see the body color through. So that's what we're going to do next, is lay down some tape to give us a spacer for the top and the bottom of the stripes, and then we'll lay down the white on top, lay down the dark blue on the bottom, and then run 2 more lines of knifeless for the middle stripe, and that'll be the stripes. Okay, so now I laid down some of the 2 different sizes of tape to try to give me my spacer from the middle line. What I'm going to do now is run my knifeless along the top edge of the top blue and along the bottom edge of the bottom blue. On the front fender there, it's actually going to kind of start tapering pretty much at the front of the door. So the tape spacer isn't really necessary. I'm just going to kind of wing it and we'll see how it looks. Yep, so just like I said, running knifeless tape along the car for the top of the top stripe and the bottom of the bottom stripe, using the tape as a guide, and then winging that front fender. Okay, so now that we've done all of that work, it's finally time to start laying some vinyl. So, let's do that. Alright, the moment you've all been waiting for, sticking some vinyl to the car, yeah. It was unfortunately a little bit too cold in my garage. I probably shouldn't have been doing it this cold, but you can see me heating it up and then kind of sticking the vinyl, readjusting it, heating it up, readjusting it. There's some kind of weird curves, and doing it in these 3 pieces allowed me to kind of get around those curves pretty easily, and really kind of helped it go down pretty good. The trickiest part was the front fender kind of curving it around there. So yeah, I go back and pull the knifeless, the bottom line of the middle 2 stripes that we laid down. That trims the vinyl, trims the white closer to that middle line, and then I can pull all the stuff out of there. And then, yeah, so you see me pulling out the extra part of the knifeless tape and then smoothing it down. Now we can start laying the dark blue on the lower stripe. Yep, so just like the white, laying down the dark blue on the bottom, and yep, just nothing to it but do it. So again, you can see me here laying it down, peeling it up a little bit, and then readjusting it, but not too bad. Okay, so now that all the dark blue is laid on there, we can go ahead and pull off the bottom line, we can pull off the middle line, and then we can pull off the top line. Okay, and this is when it really starts to take shape. So here I go and pull off the bottom knifeless line to get the bottom edge of my bottom dark blue stripe, and then I go and smooth that out, and then that's kind of when the problem started. Like I said, it was kind of cold, and when I went to peel the middle stripe, the middle knifeless, it kept breaking, and I had a whole bunch of issues with it. Basically, I just let it sit overnight, and I came back the next day and then was able to kind of cut my way into it and get it down, and then kind of cleaned up the edges, and then laid down the knifeless stripe for the third stripe in the middle, and then started laying that color down, just like the other 2 stripes, laying it down and then smoothing it out, and then go back and trim off the last 2 lines, and then there's our 3 stripes. So after I had the third stripe cut out, I go back and kind of cut the joints there and smooth it around the edges of the doors and the fenders, and then trim around the handle, all that stuff to kind of clean it up and make it look good. And then we're ready for the last step. Now, last but not least, we are going to do the really cool turbo graphic across the rear quarter panel here. Okay, this is what really kind of got me hyped on the whole project. Basically, I took this graphic from a second generation RX-7, an FC RX-7. They had a model called the Turbo 2, which was obviously turbocharged. And this is basically just that graphic without the 2 at the end and scaled up quite a bit bigger. I had my boy Scott over at Spinny Whoosh hook me up and make it a little bit bigger, and then I was able to stick it on there in just the right spot, and it came out super awesome. I'm super stoked with how it looks. Basically, you can see me, I'm going through and kind of smoothing out some of the lines. Since this is die cut, you can see the stripes through there, which is what I wanted. It kind of allowed me to go back and fix some of the mistakes. It's a weird, complex curve trying to lay it down. So I kind of went back there, peeled some of it up with a razor blade, and then squeegeed it back down to make it flat and get rid of all the wrinkles. If it were one solid piece, I probably wouldn't have been able to do that. So it was really nice to be able to do that, and it made it look a lot cleaner. So the end result, I'm pretty stoked with. And there we go. Now we're done with it. Both sides. I actually did the other side first and then filmed this side just so I kind of knew what I was doing. But yeah, let's take a better look at it.